Hi, and welcome to Tom Talk Shop. Today I'm on my knees begging you to subscribe, like, and comment. Okay, I'm going to be replacing my pinch sticks, these guys, that have been irritating me for a really long time, though they worked quite well, and I have a whole set of them. I'm going to be replacing them. And I've made myself a new all-in-one pinch stick. It can be used for doing cabinet doors, drawer bottoms, panel miters, yes, that's what they're called, and any kind of outside miter. It'll also work for an inside miter, but a little bit harder to use. And it can be used anything from about 8 inches, 9 inches, all the way out to about 50 inches out there. And it stays together as one piece and can hang on my wall without getting lost, like all that nonsense. So if you do like this, again, I'm on my knees begging you to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you. Okay, I've got my old system of pinch sticks here, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of how they work. And this has been a pretty flawed design. I've actually been doing it this way a long time, but we're going to fix this today in the video. So what I have is my piece of wood here, and then I have a skinny piece that can fit into grooves and bump up against things and so forth. And then I have some different lengths of runners. I have some that are even longer than this, but I have two that'll fit in this. And here I have a pretend door frame to show you how I use it. So I would take one of my pinch sticks here and then take another one and get them in the groove all the way to the bottom. And then once I have them, I will clip a clip on them like that, and then I can get a measurement. Now this is, for a lot of reasons, really lacking in, of course, and you can scribe right off this too, but like right now I'm coming up with 13 1/16, so that would tell me that my absolute outer measurement in this plane right here would be to the bottom of the groove is 13 1/16 here. But what we're going to do today is we're going to come up with a whole lot more fun way to do this in an all-in-one tool where I'm not having to keep track of all these little pieces. Okay, I've got all my basic components here and my all-important red pencil. So what I'm going to do is I've already cut a piece to 45-degree angles, and I've cut it about 1.5 inches at each end longer than my block. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill all the way through, or most of the way through, going this way, a 1/2 inch bore to allow a dowel to fit through there. And this is a dowel we made, but you can buy this at any big box. And I'm using a 1/2 inch dowel, but a 3/8 or something would probably work all right too. It's just important that you're going to get a tight fit on the dead man side, and it's pretty loose on the adjustable side. And then I'm going to center and bore the same size hole in this case about here, going this direction, so that my thread insert can fit in there, and then I have a set screw to catch my dowel. Now it's important that your dowel is far enough down in your block of wood that it'll clear your set screw when it's all the way out, and your thread insert. But you want plenty of room here so that you can get over door frames, drawer bottoms, that sort of thing, to pop this in. Now when this is all bored out and that is in set and this is glued on and dried, I'm simply just going to cut this in half and separate my two parts. That way everything is all lined up. And the big advantage of this is going to be everything will be in one plane, and I won't have to have a bunch of disparate parts. They'll always be together, and I'll be able to get them in a lot of places I couldn't get my other part before. So let's put this guy together. So the other feature I've included in this that I haven't in the other is I cut these at actually a perfect 45, so you can see the angle. But I would be able to take and measure something like the width of this, and then I can apply that directly on the trim and scribe my marks without having to do any additional measuring. Good examples on the inside of a panel frame or a picture frame. any inside corner molding in particular, but outside cornering molding could work too. This one is only going to be able to extend out to about 48 inches, but for most of my uses, that's going to be plenty long. You could make these in different lengths. If anything, this thing might be big for a couple of my smaller applications, but to start with, I'm just going to try using this one. Okay, I've got my block all laid out here. I'm going to start by drilling a 1/2 inch bore through this. I'll use my trusty centering gauge because I'm not going up to the shop to use a drill press when it's probably just about 0 degrees up there. And I'm going to drill as deep as I can, then I'll pop the thing off and drill down the rest of the length of the bit. Then I'm going to drill a 3/8 hole for my thread insert here, also centered. And then I'll be ready to glue the shoe on the bottom of this. And I made sure this was planed nice and square and smooth and straight, so I got a good glue edge on that. And then I've already marked my mark here, so I don't have to fiddle with it later. And then when this is all dry, I can just cut it right in half, clean this out a little bit so it slides better, and it'll be ready to go. All right, so I'm going to use my hole centering jig here. I can get this on here. There we go. That helps me keep it nice and straight. If you don't have one of these or access to a drill press, there are some other ways to do this. You can make a little wooden one. I should probably make a video about that. I have had to do that on the job site before when I didn't have either one. That's an easy substitution, but this is what I have, and this is how I'm going to do it today. So I've got it to there. Ouch. Then I'm going to just go ahead and run this thing down all the way till I can't go any further. Didn't really want it going all the way through, and it didn't. That's good. Now I've got to drill my top bore. In this case, it's going to be for a 3/8 inch bit. So let me just do that. Chuck this guy in. And what I want to do here is just go through till I just pop through the other bore that I've already bored. So now I've got that. And what this top one is for is just for my thread insert to fit in there. You could do this without a thread insert and maybe do a 1/4 inch or 6 millimeter hole, slightly undersized, and drill a wooden thread in there. But I found that those don't hold up very well, so I like to use this setup. So that's all done. Now all I've got to do is just glue my foot on. I've already cut my foot to about a 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches going each way over this guy. So we're going to do that while we're got video rolling. Let me get a clamp. Doesn't have to be perfectly centered or perfectly aligned. As you can see, I'm not being super picky. I'm just trying to make it where it's going to hold up. Another thing I want to point out is I cut a lot of 1/4 inch grooves, drawer bottoms, drawer frames. And so I made this about 3/16 or just a hair over, and it's a good hard piece of wood. So it'll fit in there easily. My other ones were a little bit thicker than that, and they were always binding. I don't want this to bind. I want to just be able to go in there, find my spot, and then be able to pull it out of there easy. All right. Just going to put a dab of glue on this, and we'll clamp it down. And then from the magic of YouTube, we'll come back and finish putting this guy together. Okay, I've got my basic pieces together. This is my dead man, I'll call it. And I'm going to pop my dowel in there and glue it and put a wood nail in. This is my sliding piece, and I've already cleaned it out so the dowel slides through there pretty easy. I actually just sanded the dowel a little bit to get it so that it fit better. And if you buy a store-bought dowel, you have to do that. Now I'm going to just put my thread insert in now. I think I should have made my dowel just a hair deeper than I did for this insert, but it's all right. If it doesn't clear, I can back it off just a tiny bit. Try that. Yeah, I should have been a little bit deeper. It's all right. Now we've got that, and then I can just put my threaded thumb screw in there. And so whenever I get to wherever I want to stop at, there we go, it'll lock it nice and tight. Otherwise it slides real easy from one end to the other. Now I'll check that, and I had to drill that a little deeper for my arrangement. That's what I'm looking for right there. So I'm going to put a dab of glue in there, because I intend for this to sort of stay together. It's one piece. Seat that all the way in. My hole got a little bit cattywampus there. That is what it is, though. It'll still work. Now, I'm going to lay it on its side. And I am going to drill a small hole through it. There. Drive a wooden nail into that hole. And there we have it. Not the most beautiful thing in the world, but for our purposes, it'll work really, really well. And there it is, all ready to go. Plus you have some flex to it too if you need to get into various other places. Okay, so I'm going to just give a quick demonstration how I'm going to use this. Hopefully we can get this on film. So here is a panel, and here is a piece of picture molding we made. This stuff is really fun to measure and cut, because a panel molding type arrangement. And if you look up there, you can see where we have a link to how we made this stuff, if you haven't seen that already. So this is going to be a backing for a picture that we have here. I actually want to measure from the back side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my corner of measurement, and I'm going to bring my other block over till I'm right on the corner. In this case, I'm going for a tight fit, but you might want a little bit looser, but this gives you a good, nice idea. And these are the same size going both ways. I already know that. Oh, no, they're not. Okay. So I'll be using that going two different ways. So what I want to do on this molding, that's why this was the whole idea of making this thing initially. Can you see that? Is you set your 2 points in your track, because if you measure to the inside here, if you take your measurement here, you're going to be wrong, but if you take it back here, you will be correct. And it's really hard to get that measurement with a tape measure. So then I can just take my 45s, mark them here and here, and I'm ready to cut. I personally cut them a little bit longer and then pare back to that line. but that gives me a nice, easy line to work from. And if I'd have been messing with a tape measure, I would have got it wrong. And I seem to struggle, and that one's actually too short, but that's beside the point. You can look at that. So then that's all ready to cut, assuming I hadn't made that corner too short, but it's easy enough to move it over and remeasure. Okay, this is another use. This was my big use of it, not just making picture frames, but here I've set up 2 pieces of door frame, pretending we have a frame since I didn't have one readily made at the moment. So what I often do with my other set, and showed it earlier in the video, is I would slide them together and pinch them, a real unacceptable situation. And this, of course, works really well with drawer bottoms too. And then you line it up, get it pretty square, and I'm just going to check square just because. All right, that's close enough for government work. Lock it and carefully pull it out of the frame. And then there you go, you've got your measurement. I can just take my tape measure, measure the 2 long ends. And like in this case, I've got 13 7/8. And you would have a hard time, doing that without doing a whole bunch of math to get that same one. And it never seems to be quite right when you do the math. This also, like I said, works with drawer bottoms, which is why I made that such a long area there so I could get up inside of things easily, and the stick would clear, which was a problem with my old setup.